forget the exact technical term, but there are a couple of braces, and it's supposed to help hold the thing straight. Well, it hasn't done that for a long time, and yet the car is as straight as an arrow. This is sort of superfluous. Its major function is just to keep the two ends pulled together. There are 4 rods that go the entire length of the car. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the other 2 nuts down there are shorter ones that are part of the coupler. We'll talk about that later. This thing I have my hand on is called a polling pocket. There's one on each corner. And this was part of a very unsafe and no longer done by anybody practice, but one that's interesting and a lot of fun, and I'd sure love to see it happen. If you've got a car over on an adjacent track that you have to move, the locomotive is here, the car is over here, one thing they would do, they'd put a pole, literally a wooden pole about so big, had iron wrapped around the end so it wouldn't split, maybe 6, 8, 10 feet long, whatever, and put it to a similar thing on the car, and then they'd start going, give the car a shove, and then when they got the car going fast enough, they'd stop, the pole would fall down, and then they'd pick it up and use it for something else. So, polling pocket. You don't see these on today's freight cars by any means. In the center we said there's a coupler, and this is a standard railroad coupler. This could hook up to any kind of freight car even today. Here is the air brake hose, because when the locomotive was in operation, the brakes in this also would apply the brakes in any car that they would have in the line. And there's a picture of this hauling 5 cars, I believe at 1940, showing it hauling 5 cars, and they would all, if they were careful enough, and if they didn't care about going, if they had to go up and down any kind of a hill, which there was some in the mills of Sanford, they would hook up the brakes. If they were just doing 1 or 2 cars, they probably wouldn't bother, and depending on how heavily loaded they were. Of course, this isn't very heavy, so you've got a real heavy freight car pushing it down there. You want to have some brakes in the cars to do it. Well, anyway, this hose, which is called part of the train line, has obviously disintegrated. We fortunately have lots more of these around that we can use. The coupler has a lever right here. Of course, oh yeah, okay. That opens up, and then you can, when you run into the car that you want to couple, this will automatically close. Well, when you're holding that up. Well, things don't work quite as well as they should. Anyway, that will automatically close, and then you can take off. This little slot here is something you will not find any today at all. It's used for what they call link and pin coupling, where you put a bar in here with a hole in it, drop a rod down through here, and then hook onto whatever it is you want to pull, which has something similar on the other end. And we use that on streetcars a lot. And of course, remember, this is electric railroad, and it was used where there were streetcars. Okay. Up here we have a bracket, which is for the portable headlight.